What's up, guys, and welcome to Harbor Youth. Tonight, we are starting a new series. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that here in a few minutes when I get into the teaching portion. Unfortunately, once again, we do not have the bro show tonight. Unfortunately, my little bro, Tanner, is feeling sick. He has had a COVID test. He is negative, so that's good, but he's been just feeling a little under the weather, so we're praying for him. I don't know, though. Like, maybe he's faking it. Like, maybe he's just giving up. Like, he's like, okay, you know what? I'm throwing in the towel. The better brother is Christian. I mean, I think I am up, like, 4 on him, like, as far as these challenges and games go. So, I don't know. You decide who the better Rutherford brother is. But have no fear. Tonight, I do have a game for you that's kind of going along with our new theme for this week. We are looking at moving beyond 2020, but before we do that, we need to take a look back into 2020, and tonight we are playing 2020 trivia. All right, so you can just do this right here where you are, and just think about some of these questions, the answers that come up. I've looked through some of these, and I was surprised on some of them. Some of them I was like, oh, I don't know. Some of them I was like, I know this. This is easy. But anyways, let's get into it. Are you ready for 2020 trivia? Here's how we play. I'm going to show you 3 things that happened during the year 2020, but one of them is not true. I need you to identify which event did not take place to win. Now, here's the thing. You are in the privacy of your own home, in your own room. And so, you know what? You can just be a winner. That's cool. You can just learn some new facts. But you know what? Let's try to get this serious. Let me know how many you got right. Send me a chat. Put it in the comments. Whatever. Let's go. First question. Which event did not happen in 2020? Was it A, a devastating Australian brush fire burned over 47 million acres? B, Apple released the first iCar model to the public? Or C, did Prince Harry and Meghan quit being royals? All right, you got this one. Are you ready? Do you know what the answer is? Okay, that's right. There's no iCar. Okay, don't be a boomer here. There's no iCar. All right. Next question. Which event did not happen in 2020? A massive pandemic and a nationwide quarantine. Okay. Kobe Bryant died in a tragic accident. Android phones were hacked by Russian intelligence. All of these seem like things that could happen in 2020, but it was not the Android thing. All right. I know there's like Android haters, iPhone haters, all this kind of stuff. But listen, the Androids did not get hacked by Russian intelligence. All right. Which did not happen? President Donald Trump was impeached. SpaceX launched the first human-piloted rocket to Mars. Or Harvey Weinstein died in jail. SpaceX, they did not go to Mars. They're launching things out into the outer webs of the world, the outer space of the galaxy. I don't know what I'm saying. But they did not go to Mars. We know that. Okay, these are easy so far. Which event did not happen in 2020? Betty White passed away due to complications from cancer. The stock market crashed. Do you guys care about the stock market? I don't know. Maybe you keep up with it. Massive protests and riots took place in various parts of America. Which one of these did not happen in 2020? Because 2020 was tragic. But don't worry, Betty White, she's still with us. Thank you. All right. Which did not happen in 2020? Kim Jong-un was rumored to have been killed. Murder hornets were attacking the United States, or the massive volcano in Yellowstone erupted. Which one of these did not take place? The massive supervolcano in Yellowstone did not erupt. That didn't happen. That wasn't a thing. Okay, I don't know if you thought that was a thing, but it is not. But murder hornets are real. Okay. Which did not happen in 2020? 2,750 tons of ammonium nitrate was detonated in a, I can't read, Burett port? I don't know. This one must not be it, or I don't have any knowledge. The Xbox Series T was released, or actor Chadwick Boseman passed away. That's right, Xbox Series T. If you're not a gamer, I guess maybe you wouldn't get this one, but there's no T. There's like X's and S's and all sorts of other things, but there's no T's. All right. Which event did not happen in 2020? Wildfires burned millions of acres across the West Coast. Rock and roll legend Eddie Van Halen died. Or Disney filed for bankruptcy. What happened? Disney did not file for bankruptcy. Have no fear. You are still going to be able to watch all the Star Wars and little baby Yodas and all the cute little Disney movies that you ever want because they have not filed for bankruptcy. We're okay. All right. Amazon released their drone delivery system in major cities. Mr. Peanut, the mascot of Planters Nuts, was pronounced dead. Or see the Boy Scouts of America filed for bankruptcy. All right. Okay. Bankruptcy seems to be a common theme here. I don't know. Maybe that's it. I don't know. All of these things seem like things that could happen in 2020. Which one did not happen? Amazon did not release a drone delivery system. That'd be kind of cool though. Like you see this like, here's your package. Like, would that be like 1 day shipping, like same day shipping? Like you order it and like 20 minutes later you get your package? That'd be kind of cool. Also kind of scary because then there'll be all these like drones flying around and I don't know. Anyways, what didn't happen? First responders in Texas were attacked by 40,000 bees. Starbucks fired over 1 million employees. Or the Summer Olympics in Tokyo were canceled. Which of these events did not happen in 2020? Starbucks fired over 1 million employees. Okay, that's all right. Starbucks kept it going. I honestly, like when I saw this, I was like, I don't think Starbucks, fired over 1 million people. But I also really don't think 40,000 bees attacked first responders in Texas. But apparently that was a thing that happened. I need to go look that up. I need to go find that article because that's something. All right. Which event did not happen in 2020? The Pentagon released videos of UFOs. Snapchat scheduled for a complete ban in the U.S. in 2021. Poland accidentally invaded the Czech Republic. Okay, this is like a crazy one here because like all of these seem crazy, but which one did not happen? Snapchat scheduled for a complete ban in the U.S. 2021 did not happen, but the Pentagon released videos of UFOs, so maybe there are aliens out there, okay? And Poland accidentally, how do you accidentally invade an entire country? I've also got to look that up. Clearly, I'm not cultured. All right, what didn't happen? Instagram was bought out by Apple. A huge dust cloud from the Sahara hit the United States. Or longtime host of the show Jeopardy, Alex Trebek, passed away. Instagram was not bought by Apple. There's been a lot of things. Are you like starting to remember some of this stuff that happened in 2020? Like 2020 was crazy, y'all. And that's it. That's the end of our trivia. And now we're going to go into teaching time. I hope you enjoyed this time where Christian learned new things, and hopefully you did too. We are jumping into a new series, as you have seen by that whole like little title video, called The Other Side. 2020, we know, we talked about this a lot. It was crazy, all right? Things that have been going on in recent events in our world have been crazy. But we are still looking forward to a new chapter of life. We're looking towards the other side of things. We're not going to be so focused up on the past of the craziness that's gone on, and we're going to be focusing more forward on the future. But today, we are going to focus on the past a little bit to kind of remind us of something that's going to help us to push forward to the future. But before we get into that, I want to know how many of you are forgetful, all right? I know you're in your room or you're on your couch or you're something like that, and you're like, okay, there's nobody else here, but there's some other people watching with you. It's cool. And like, think, are you a forgetful person? Or maybe you know a close friend or a family member or somebody who is a forgetful person. Maybe they have to set, or you have to set like a dozen reminders on your phone to get anything done. Well, let me tell you something. This person that I'm describing is 100% me. I forget everything. I am terrible with names, which I know a lot of yours. That's actually, I'm doing pretty good in life right there. But for the most part, it is hard for me to just like remember simple things. Like sometimes my wife, I'll be upstairs, she'll ask me to go do something, and I will immediately get up to go do it. It's not like I'm just like pushing it off and like I'll do it later and then I forget. I will literally immediately get up and go do it, and I'll walk downstairs and I will literally just like walk around in circles for a few minutes being like, what is it that she just asked me? Because I swear if I have to ask her what she asked me to do, like she gonna rip my head off. Like, okay, I don't know. Maybe that's just me. I don't know. Maybe it's you as well. But my question to you today is a little bit deeper than just this. Like, we deal with forgetfulness all the time. But how often do we forget about important spiritual things? Like how good and faithful that God actually is. When life gets hard, we question sometimes like if he can and if he will help us. Like we just somehow forget all the good things that God has done. I have a question specifically for you tonight, and I want to know if you have been in a time where you have forgotten about God's faithfulness in your life. Maybe you've had like these like spiritual high moments where you've experienced God in some kind of form, and then it's been a little while for you to do that because like you've just been out of touch, out of youth group. Maybe you haven't been getting into God's word. Maybe you just haven't been talking to him as much as you normally do, whatever the case is. But tonight, I want us to remember the importance of God's faithfulness. In 2 Timothy, in chapter 2, verse 13, it says, if we are faithless, he remains faithful. If we are faithless, he remains faithful. So there's times in our life where we lack faith, where we slip up on this, where we allow all of the overwhelming pressures and stuff of life to just sit on top of us, and we just completely forget about how faithful God truly is. But in 2 Timothy chapter 2, verse 13, we are reminded that even in the moments when we are faithless, when we fall short, when we forget about the things that God has done, he remains faithful in our lives. Today, I also want us to look at Joshua chapter 4. Up until this point of this chapter, the nation of Israel has left Egypt. We're pretty familiar with that story, leaving the enslavement of Egypt and the whole parting of the Red Sea and like all of this crazy stuff that happens. They get led around in the wilderness, all this stuff. And Joshua is about to lead these people into the promised land. And something interesting happens in this story. Okay, so let's read this really quick. When all the nation had finished passing over the Jordan, the Lord said to Joshua, take 12 men from the people, one from each tribe, and command them, saying, take 12 stones from here out of the midst of the Jordan, from the very place where the priest's feet stood firmly, and bring them over to you and lay them down in the place where you lodge tonight. Then Joshua called the 12 men from the people whom he had appointed, a man from each tribe, and Joshua said to them, pass on before the ark of the Lord your God into the midst of the Jordan, and take up each of you a stone on his shoulder, according to the number of tribes of the people of Israel, that this may be a sign among you. When your children ask when the time had come, what do those stones mean to you? Then you shall say to them that the waters of the Jordan were cut off before the ark of the covenant of the Lord. When it passed over the Jordan, the waters of the Jordan were cut off. So these stones shall be to the people of Israel a memorial forever. So what else happens in this passage beforehand? was that the nation of Israel gets to the Jordan River, which is on the cusp of the promised land that they've been trying to get to for over 40 years at this point. And the Jordan River is huge and it's just raging. And God does another crazy water stopping movement like he did with the Red Sea when he parted it so the nation of Israel could go across on dry land. And he stopped the waters of the Jordan flowing so that they could go across. And what Joshua does here is he tells them, hey, go and grab these stones. Let's set and we'll set them up as a memorial and a reminder. Not something for us to worship, not because it's an idol, but for you to remember God's faithfulness. Because he had just spent all this time in the wilderness with these people, and they had forgotten about all the good stuff that God had done along the way. Somehow they forgot about the Red Sea parting. Somehow they forgot about getting out of the enslavement of the Egyptians, and they would grumble and they would complain. And so Joshua says, hey, no. We're going to take something and we're going to set up a memorial and we are going to remember God's faithfulness. How often do we forget all the things that God has done in our life? Take a second. Think about this. Think about 2020 and think about how God was still faithful even in the midst of all the craziness that went on. I know there was a ton of stuff for me personally that went on in 2020. 2020 was honestly one of the craziest years of my life, but even in the midst of that, I was able to help start Surf Church. I was able to come here to Harbor and get to hang out with you guys and do all the cool stuff that we've been able to do here. And I'm hoping and I'm praying that we can get together and meet in person again soon and we can get back to somewhat of a normal youth group type of deal. But God was still faithful. He still did some awesome things in 2020 if we really think about that. Maybe 2020 was just a total loss for you. I don't know. Think back in your life to those times where God has just done some awesome things. Think about the things that you can be grateful for. The roof over your head, the food on your table. Maybe just the simple ability to watch this video and hang out for a few minutes. Whatever the case is, there are things that we can hold on to. So how do we actually apply this into our lives? In Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 9, it says this, "Only take care and keep your soul diligently, lest you forget the things that your eyes have seen, unless they depart from your heart all the days of your life. Make them known to your children and to your children's children." And basically what this passage is saying, we need to hold dear to what it is that God has done in our lives. That we need to hold on to those glory moments and remember them. And so I want to ask you, what are you walking through right now? What are some things that maybe you feel currently discouraged about? Maybe you feel like God has forgotten about you for some reason. But remember what we talked about at the very beginning, that he is always faithful. Recall, go back and think about the moments in the past where God came through in incredible ways and hold on to those things. Maybe this week you need to make yourself a physical reminder. Maybe it's like a little note card that you put on your mirror to look at in the morning that says God's got this or God's faithful. You know, the interesting thing that like literally just came into my mind was, I think it was 2 years ago, I did this like whole thing where I had like the word of the year. I don't know if you've ever done that before or heard anybody say that, but my word of that year was faithfulness. Okay? Reminding myself that God was always faithful. And I broke that down into 3 things. Praying continuously, loving people no matter what, and trusting God. If we do those 3 things, we exhibit that faithfulness. We begin to understand that faithfulness. Trusting God, even in the midst of all the craziness and the chaos. Loving people, because it takes our faithfulness to just love on all people, no matter who they are, what kind of person, lifestyle, race, background, whatever they are. And we pray continuously. We talk to God. We reach out to him. and we begin to understand that faithfulness. So whatever it is that you need to do, make maybe some kind of physical reminder that you can look at or hold on to or whatever. Get creative with this idea. If you come up with something, tell me about it. Send me a message. I'd love to hear what you end up doing. But just remember that even in the moments when we're faithless and we feel like God's not there, he is constantly and consistently faithful to us. So I hope you guys have an awesome week. Praying that we can get together soon. I'm hoping to announce some awesome stuff for you guys soon. Of maybe we can kind of get back to doing a few things in person as the days are starting to get longer and maybe the weather will warm up a little bit. I don't know. It is January, so we'll see. But I'm hoping to be able to announce some stuff for you guys soon. But other than that, you guys have a great week.